What's good? How y'all doing this evening?
Welcome to the FILA Sports Podcast. That is the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. Two hometown guys talking hometown sports. Your boy Coach Mario and my co-host the Don. What's going
How
on,
y'all
man?
doing this evening? Oh man,
How are y'all
man,
doing?
I really don't know, man. I really don't know.
Well, the Don is in a somber mood. I think you all know why. We have a guest with us this evening as well. We always let you introduce yourself, and let them know where they can follow you at, or read your stuff at, or check you out at. Go ahead, Laura.
Hey, I'm Laura Astorian. You can follow me on Twitter at HildyMac. And I am the editor for St. Louis Game Time, the SB Nation St. Louis Blues blog. So you can read my stuff over at St. Louis Game Time.
All right. And Don, if they want to check out our shit.
All right. Sorry about that, y'all. It's been one of them days I forgot. I'm doing work in my little office area and I forgot to put some stuff away.
Man? You good?
I'm good, man. It's just, I'm OCD about certain things. So if some just throws me off, one thing could throw me off and I just, yeah. But sorry about that, you guys. But hey, we're here this Sunday evening. Thank you, Laura, for coming on with us. But if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. All right. We on the road to 500. I think we got like almost 350 subscribers. So we getting close. We're really getting close. Also hit that like button. Share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics. And hit us up in the comment section. As always,
come holla.
It's your hometown sports podcast. You guys already know where y'all can find us at. Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast on YouTube. All you gotta do is just type it in just the way I said it. You hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we go live or when we post videos into our channel. Also, you know where to find us on social media. On Twitter at FILA_SP. Instagram at FILA Sports Podcast. On Facebook, FILA Sports Podcast. And yes, we are also on Google Play and on Spotify. Like I said, I've been trying my hardest to get this stuff uploaded. Just give me a while, y'all. Hopefully sometime by this month, I'm counting October. I try to have everything loaded up. It's just, man, I just been busy. I just really been busy and, trying to find the right software to download, free software. But if I can't get it free, I'm going to end up buying it. Also, we want to share this news with you guys that we officially have a sponsor, Grant Park Print House. The link is in the description. We're going to be doing a lot of great things with them. It's a partnership and sponsorship as well. They sponsoring our shows now. They pretty much do digital printing on t-shirts, hats, bags, anything, coffee mugs, well, you name it, they pretty much do it. And we're gonna have all our merchandise, like our FILA Sports Podcast stuff, gonna come through them. They're gonna set up a website. They haven't been on social media yet, but they're gonna get that off the ground. But we do have a surprise for you guys. Come Thanksgiving, you can go buy your merchandise from them for the game. We'll put it out there later on, probably in the next few weeks. Just give us time. But I'm not finna give out any surprises. But it's gonna be a must buy. It's gonna be a must buy that you're gonna end up wanting to buy some merchandise, a t-shirt or a hat to wear at the games. So, other than that, everybody in the chat, I got 5 people in the chat. Come on, y'all. Where everybody at? I understand y'all upset that the Falcons lost. Yeah, the Braves lost.
Don't take it out on us, right?
Yeah, the Braves lost in extra innings today. Yeah. Then United, they pretty much had a draw. It just wasn't a good day for Atlanta sports. So hey, and then we talking about the Thrashers tonight. So like I said, it's just not a good day for Atlanta sports. So go ahead and run down what happened this week with the Dream.
The Dream got kicked out of State Farm Arena. It's weird, odd how that's gonna kind of tie in to what we're gonna talk about later with the Thrashers too. Yeah. But yeah, they won't be returning to State Farm Arena. They got to find somewhere else to play.
Well, they got the new place in College Park, and then they also have
they got the Gwinnett Center.
They got the Gwinnett Center,
Infinite
and then
Arena.
they got Georgia Tech too. So, but I don't know how to. They got Georgia Tech as well.
And then in a couple of years they'll have Georgia State's new arena too.
Yep. So they're gonna have some places to play. I just hope they don't leave the city. If they leave the city, man, I'm gonna be hurt. All right. Segue into the Atlanta Blaze. A lot of their players are up for MLL awards. MLL stands for Major League Lacrosse. And Randy Stats, he's up for the Offensive Player of the Year. Liam Bynes, he's up for the Defensive Player of the Year. Chris Madeline, he's up for the Goalie of the Year. And Addis Woodall, he's up for the Rookie of the Year. So shouts out to Liam Banks. We had him on the show a month ago. So he coached those boys up, and pretty much 4 players up for awards. That's huge. And then they got and then this week starts their playoff as well. So I just hope they can bring a championship to the city. If they do, you already know we're gonna take Liam out Night on the Town, man. We owe that to Coach, man. We owe that to Coach Banks. Yeah. So what the Braves do?
The Braves Tuesday, Kansas City. We dropped that one 9-6. Had them again on Wednesday, and we were able to pull that one out, win that one 10-2, score some runs in that one. Friday we took on the Mets, and we dropped that one 4-2. Typical Mets Braves game. And yesterday we dropped to the Mets 3-0. And extra innings today, 7-6. So obviously we didn't get to the 100 wins, but
yeah, who cares? We just trying to be healthy to the playoffs. We just trying to, like I said, if we get to the NLCS, we good. We're good. Now if we get to the World Series, I'm gonna lose my mind. So.
Well, speaking of that, the playoff roster was announced. Ender is not going to make the playoff roster for the NLDS, and it starts Thursday over in Atlanta/Cobb, depending on whatever you want to call it.
Just call it the Battery. It's going to be at the Battery Suntrust Park.
Yeah. Technically, the address says Atlanta, but we know it's Cobb, so it is kind of weird right there. Exactly. But technically, pull it up, it says Atlanta.
The playoff is set. We play the Cardinals, and we know our history when we play against the Cardinals is not good at all. But hey, something got to give. Cause I really don't like everybody don't like the Mets. Everybody don't like the Nats. I don't like the Cardinals. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I just never did.
Laura's a Cardinals fan.
I know she is. Is.
You want smoke? Okay, I'll make sure I rib that up later.
I just never was. Look, I just never was I just never liked the Cardinals.
Yeah, feel you.
Something
about the Brewers, I don't know with me. I don't even know why. I just don't like the Brewers. Couldn't even tell you why. Nothing.
They just a hand-me-down team because we pretty much.
I used to hate their uniforms back in the day. That's what it was. It just
I like the blue and yellow. I love that.
It wasn't the color scheme. It was the print stripe, the back. But anyway, it was that. Hawks news. Basketball. I'm a basketball head. So if about to get started, your team's training camp is starting up. Cam Reddish is cleared the practice. So all my basketball fans, I guess we'll be talking some basketball soon next couple of weeks because you'll start training camp and then they'll start preseason. So all my hoop fans, I know y'all excited. And training camp actually starts Tuesday.
Yep.
So and then after training camp is like 10 days, then they actually start the
season.
Preseason, right? It's like 10 or 14 days, so they start preseason actually pretty soon. It's not like,
Man, we need to go and get our tickets to the to a game on a Saturday night or something, so we can just go out there and just kick it.
Definitely need to check, figure out what team we want to go see.
Man, we can get a press box. Look, man, we can get a luxury box and just invite like 10, 15 people to come in and just kick it with us.
That sound good. New sponsorship kicking in, right?
Hey, hey,
Don't talking about getting a luxury box. You see, I'm over here like
we can talk to.
yeah,
Hey,
let's
we can
do
talk.
it.
Hey, we can talk to Grant Parr Print House. We can talk to Matt and see if he can hook us up with something. You never know.
So for the for the subject we danced around, man, let's go ahead and get through it. What they do today, them birds.
What they didn't do. Lost the game 24-10. Look, man, I said this before, and I said this all preseason. I said this in training camp, and you can vouch for me. I said we're not going to be successful if we don't run the ball. We're not running the ball. I believe there was we threw the ball how many times? Like 50, 57, 56 times?
53, I think.
Yeah.
Something like 50 something.
That's not a balanced offense. That is not a balanced offense. And when you abandon the run, we had the game tied for a bit. And I already know how Dirk Carter is. Dirk Carter, he just wants, if something doesn't work his way, because he wants big plays. He wants like 30 yards down the field, and he wants his running backs to break off 15 yards. So when Freeman then was getting 3 yards to carry or whatever, he just got impatient as usual and panicked and just said, I'm just going to throw the ball. You can't do that. You have to still establish the run. And I said this earlier too after the game. Look, I'm all for Mike Mularkey calling the offense, because I know what he can do. We know he loves to run the ball. We have to run the ball. That's your ingredients to win games. Run the ball and you stop the run. All right. Ryan threw for 397 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So he had a game. But the receivers today, they dropped a lot of passes. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. Julio dropped some passes. Sanu dropped a touchdown pass. Hooper dropped a couple. It just nothing was going our way at all today. Nothing.
Buzzards luck. For real.
Hooper caught 9 passes for 130 yards. Sanu 9 passes for 91 yards. Explain the bad, man. Just go ahead and get the shade, man.
The 3rd and 17. We remember the 2 third downs, with the 3rd and 17 and the 3rd and 7, or was it the 3rd and 8? But y'all remember those 2 thirds. The first 3rd and 17, we played quarters and they ran the soft skinny post and they would catch the ball.
I'm just trying to figure out how in the world 3rd and 17, like, bruh, you pin your ears back and you get out to the quarterback. Like, I don't understand that zone. Like, he had all the DBs lined up at the first down line. Like, you giving them pretty much the first down, and you only rush 4. You ain't even blitz. I see if you blitz. If you blitz, okay, cool. I won't be mad, but you only rush 4 people. But here's the thing.
The 3rd and
go ahead. 7
is the one we let him pick up with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
The one we let him, you know what I'm saying? We had just talked about. We can't, like, man, remember as soon as this, I was like, man, I just said this week, we cannot let Mariota do that on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. That 3rd and medium, 3rd and, that's what he likes to do.
But here's the thing. Dan Quinn, man, you look like you sitting on the hot seat right now. Because here's the thing. Last year, end of the season, you fired everybody up under you, and you said, I'm gonna call the defense. You don't look like you're doing a good job right there, man. Just keep it in 100. You don't look like you're doing a good job.
And then the kicker, because watch the late games like today. Well, a part of the shade is still today, and I was, just going over. We didn't have a sack or a turnover today. No sacks and no turnovers. And man, I searched Google to try to find the percentage of, but I couldn't. So man, if somebody is a better stat person than me, I need Pat. What is the winning percentage of teams who did not get a turnover or a sack in the game? What is the winning percentage? I'm gonna guesstimate that it's 17%. That you can win a game without getting a turnover or a sack in the game.
And that was getting pressure today. It just, the pressure wasn't really effective, in my opinion. But the thing is, Henry kept running the ball, and we couldn't do anything to stop it. We could not do anything to stop the run. It's the same thing for these past few years. When we lose games, we lose because we cannot stop the run and we cannot run the ball.
Yeah. And not to beat a dead horse at all. But there was one particular play today where Vic Beasley did get good pressure and made Mariota step up in the pocket, and he completed a third? That was a third down. It was like a 3rd and 8, and I was thinking there, like I said, not to beat a dead horse, but yes, he did get pressure, but the pressure on there is an empty stat because the guy created, he still completed the pass for a first down. So yes, Vic did get pressure. He should get credit for that, but man, marking it down as a stat is and yeah, of course, Vic should get, he got closer to the quarterback than the other 4 guys out there, but sometimes pressures, man, dang, he completed it, and we let Marcus Mariota complete 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions.
I'm going to say this, and
he don't do that to nobody else.
He doesn't. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it at that. Offense, we got to be balanced on play calling, and we have to execute.
Yep.
If this is what we're gonna see out of Dirk for the rest of the season, I will be fine. If they just say, "Hey, man, you relieved of your duties and just get a play call to Mike Mularkey," that's what I want.
Or Matt, just Matt, go ahead, Matt. Just go, Matt. Just tell Matt.
Yeah,
just call
but
it.
I love Mike Mularkey because he's that old school. Run the ball, power. Yes, that's what I want. Yes. That's what I want to see. And I understand the trend these days. This flashy offenses. You got Kansas City. You got the Rams and all. It looks nice, but I'm not a fan of that. Football 101. You have to run the ball down their throats and see if they go stop it. All right. And on defense, some of these players, man, gonna have to Dan Quinn gonna have to evaluate some of these players this week and just try to bench them or inactivate them, because it's crazy that we have Jermaine Grace and we have I even say Duke Riley and 4-year-old Olakun and all these guys, even Sanat, they not even playing. Get these guys a chance, because it's the linebackers. Dan Quinn called out the linebacker quarter today, but here's my thing: we undersized. You undersized when you have linebackers. It's pretty much 10 pounds more than me, and I'm not even a big guy. I'm only 210 on a good day. You have a linebackers at 220, 230. The only big linebacker you have is Campbell. You're gonna get bullied, especially on run plays. But I feel like they should give other players some chances out there. Even Jordan Miller, I'm getting tired of seeing Jordan Miller inactivated. Give him a chance. Let's see what he can do.
All right. But we ain't going to beat the dead horse. We'll run through the college because we got Laura over there stewing. Yeah. We didn't forget about you, Laura.
It's all good.
All right. Run through the college this week. UJ had a bye. Georgia State had a bye. Georgia Southern, another L. They dropped to Louisiana Lafayette. They bring them 1 of 3 on the season. Now we would expect, looking at their schedule, that they'll start winning the next few games. But right now we're 1 and 3. Valdosta State won Shorter College. They beat Shorter College 44-7. Kennesaw State won 35-7 over Reinhardt. The game was stopped in the 3rd quarter due to lightning, but it still will count as a full game. And that's pretty much for the college news. Check us out Wednesday for more detailed college report for what happened in the college game. But the topic of
we got to go through
is the NHL.
We got to go through Atlanta United. So United, they played this week. They did not have a good week. They played New York FC up in the Bronx, and we lost that game 4-1. And then today we played Montreal, and we pretty much drew, that match was drew. We drew it out, and yeah, so we were pretty much ready for the playoffs. And Barco will return soon. They saying that he may end up, if he don't return this season, he probably will return for the playoffs. So.
Yeah. All right, everybody who's joining us tonight, thanks Trey for joining us. Thanks JF. We gonna stop calling you Jonathan Foskey. That's too much to say. JF, you JF now. JF says Atlanta sports is making me thinking about jumping.
Don't jump, man.
And
don't jump.
He said he actually likes the Brewers, and he got a baseball signed by the whole team. Trey said Cutter is no better than Stark, for real. And JF also said there was the one drive where we had 9 passes and 0 runs.
Yeah,
yes,
that's crazy.
For real. A two score game, and we just throwing the ball like we're down, And Trey said it seems like Cutter just calls random plays and expect them to work.
Insanity.
Yeah, dang, that is the definition. Trey also said the same thing happened to Smitty is happening to Quinn now. JF said Cutter lost me as soon as he pulled Sark and called it reverse. And then too, like, if you're gonna call it reverse, stretch it. We weren't even on the opposite half, so you got to get a man some room to work with. Melvin Emery joined us. He said very disappointed in the Falcons, but still a Falcons fan. And JF says, is Malarkey calls the plays, maybe they actually activate Allison and let him play. And JF said, okay, we call him JF. We'll finally stop butchering my last name. It's not Foskey, or what is this? Foskey?
Yeah, just tell me tell me in the YouTube, not YouTube, just tell me in the Facebook chat.
Or put the phonetic spelling there, but you JF now for me anyway. But the topic at hand tonight, we're talking some NHL. We're talking are they still our Thrashers? What used to be our Thrashers, and they escaped up to Winnipeg, and I remember everything that happened because I'm old.
I remember that 2000, that spring day of 2011. Like, my heart got broken from me. So before I even talk about that, we did a poll on our Twitter, and we said we will be discussing Atlanta Thrashers on our show today. Before we do, we want to ask the guys how they feel about hockey in the city. So we had 167 people voted. All right. And this is how it went. Let's see. So 30% said they missed the Thrashers and Flames, because we also had the Flames here back in the 70s. 19% said that we're not a hockey town, and 45% leading the polls. They said bring NHL back to ATL, meaning that we can thrive as an NHL city. It's just the circumstances that we was under when we had those two teams. It's just bad ownership. And 6% said don't care, hockey is lame. So yes, everybody here, look, if you listen to NHL, I don't know who's the commissioner of NHL. If you listening to this, we will support a hockey team if you guys bring it back, but it needs to be in the right hands of the correct owner to make sure it's a successful franchise. All right. So 8 years later, Atlanta, we still haven't gotten over the Thrashers leaving town. What's your thoughts on it, Laura? Well, just the Thrashers leaving. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you, because the people in the chat saying they can't hear her.
All right, hold on. Check the audio. I think you got her muted. All right, say something, Laura. Now, can y'all hear her now? Say something. Is somebody? Yeah. Hold on. Let's double check. Let's see. Yeah. If somebody in the chat can say if they can hear her, yeah, she coming through on my end. Oh man, we're Georgia boy. Hey Jonathan, can you hear Laura? All right, let me just do it like this here. Yeah. All right, I'm being serious, y'all. Come on, y'all. I need to know if y'all can hear her or not. Like, hold on. I'll just do it like this. All right. Well, let me do something else then. Let me try something else. Give me a minute. Yeah, source.
Basically, Ted Turner, he owned Braves, Hawks. He basically went into partnership with Time Warner. Time Warner basically had to sell. Time Warner sold to a group called the Atlanta Spirit Group.
All right, hold on. Sorry, I ain't mean to cut you.
No, go ahead.
All right,
I was just trying to get some filler while you fix it.
All right, so all right, Laura. They say they can hear her earlier. So, say something now, Laura.
Can you guys hear me?
All right. Can you guys hear her? Guys, is it better now?
Yeah, I added everything in there now. Like everything's coming clear on my end.
Okay, they're good now.
All right, good. All right. So all right. Thank you. Sometimes this indie stuff be tripping.
But like I was saying real quick, the Atlanta Spirit Group, basically the trade for Joe Johnson, that's what broke everything down. I know you guys think they don't have anything to do with hockey, but basically one of the owners, because there was a group of owners there and they all had to agree on everything. One of them didn't want to make the trade for Joe Johnson. When the group got it, they were really more interested in the rights to the stadium because they wanted to have concerts and do other things like that. They wanted to make money. They didn't want to pay the Joe Johnson salary, and they didn't want to pay, like Laura alluded to, the salaries to the players in the NHL, and that's what started the whole.
And let's put everything in perspective, man. All right, and this is what I'm reading off the ATL Sports Clinic. Brendan, he made some good stuff last night. He said they really never had a chance. He said kids don't grow up playing or watching hockey here for the most part. He talking about Atlanta. And another factor was the abysmal ownership. I was a kid when I was went to my first game in 2002, and I was always loyal to the Thrashers, and so were the ones who actually showed up. He said, I think it could have had a chance if there was a valuable product on the ice, which is true. The 1 year the Thrashers made the playoffs, the place was pretty packed and the fans were enthusiastic, but as per usual, the team didn't get it done. I always remember Kovalchuk and Hossa for that year. I remember them as well. And he said one could argue that the Coyotes, the original Jets that pretty much moved from Winnipeg to Arizona back in, I believe, 96, 97, should have moved back to Winnipeg, but the NFL propped them up for some reason, and the NHL ran the team for a while. But we were odd ones out. We were the odd ones out pretty much in 2011. He said, I think it was due to the fact that ATL had the best roster among relocation candidates, which is true. Because if you look at the Coyotes back in 2010, 2011, like, they was horrible. But let's, and going back to even like I wouldn't even thought of then back in the 70s when we had the Atlanta Flames. We only had the Flames here for 8 years, and they moved to Calgary after the 1980 season. Now, you fast forward pretty much 19 years later, and the city was awarded the second franchise with the Atlanta Thrashers, and mainly that's the reason why Phillips Arena was built. To be honest with you, to lure hockey back in the NHL back to the city. All right, so we got the hockey team. The first few years, I don't know if everybody remember, we had 2 promising first round picks our inaugural season, Patrick Stefan and Luke Sellers. What's your thoughts about those 2 players, Laura? The first few years for the Thrashers.
Oh boy. Well, I do still have my Patrick Stefan jersey, so I think the bad thing is those after about a year, you wear them to the games and folks kind of look at it and go, "Oh, you owed one of those." I felt bad for Patrick Stefan.
Yeah.
I think that both those players because with a new team and first round draft picks and all the excitement that goes around that, I really think that there was just a world of expectations placed on both of them that, Sellers definitely couldn't live up to, because I think he only played like a game for the Thrashers, but poor Patrick Stefan. He just couldn't live up to the expectations. And I think that with him being the first round draft pick, everybody thought, he's an elite scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't. So with all the pressure on that of being like the marquee first guy for the Thrashers and, just the team, especially considering after the expansion draft, they were a bunch of old cast-offs, for the other teams. The Thrashers didn't have the benefit of like what the Golden Knights had a couple years ago. That everybody thought that he was going to carry him. He just couldn't. And then, God love him, he got sent to Dallas and scored a goal in his own net. And it just, it just kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah,
that's kind
I
of
remember Stefan.
Yeah,
he was good. He was only good at I saw flashes of defense from him.
Mm-hmm.
Other than like scoring, I just thought that he cannot score at all. So
no, he was definitely, he would have been a good, quality third line player somewhere, or even second line. But the Thrashers were just like, oh my God, let's get him into the NHL right away, and then put him on the first line because he's the only name we have on our roster that people recognize and don't laugh at. So here, and it just. But the bad thing is, though, is like even with the Thrashers' last draft pick with Burmistrov, they were still doing the same thing. They still drafted the kid and immediately plopped him in the NHL without giving him any sort of developmental time or anything. So it's like, 11 years, they didn't even learn.
Yeah. All right.
For a novice like myself, what is, I know hockey has a minor league such as baseball. What is the normal path for a guy once he get drafted? How long before he makes it, to the show, to put it in baseball terms? What's the normal path?
A lot of it just kind of depends on the player. Some of the more recent first round draft picks, like this year's first round draft pick, Jack Hughes, New Jersey's going to put him in the lineup like right away. Like he's going in now as an 18-year-old kid.
Okay.
Others, they'll let him go through camp and keep their eyes on him. And sometimes some of the kids may be able to play. The most they can play without being sent down is 8 games. And then they either have to be sent down to avoid burning a year on their contract, or they have to keep them up. They can kind of get a good taste for where the kid's going. But honestly, a lot of it just kind of depends. There are a lot of really good players that have been with their junior teams and then with their AHL teams for a couple years, 2-3 years, just to see if they can add a little bit of size and get a better skill set.
Okay.
But a lot of it just kind of depends on if it's one of those generational talents or if it's not.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
All right. So, like you said earlier, Time Warner, that was the, I guess, ownership when the Thrashers was first brought into the league. Around 2003, I believe, they sold the team to Atlanta Spirit. They sold the Thrashers and the Hawks to the Atlanta Spirit.
Yep. And the rights to the stadium,
to the arena.
That was the big one. The rights to the arena. The three things.
Yep. They sold
that's what they wanted. The main thing they wanted was the rights to the arena. That's what they really wanted. They was okay on the Hawks. They didn't really want the Thrashers. They wanted the rights to the arena. That was what was the lure to them. Phillips Arena at that time.
And when they sold the team to the Spirit, and I saw the ownership, I'm like, y'all really don't. I don't think y'all understand hockey. and I pretty much, it was around the same time that like 2 years earlier that Arthur Blank bought the Falcons, and I said to myself, Arthur Blank probably be a better owner than Atlanta Spirit as far as the Thrashers. And you know, I hate to be right sometimes, but hey.
One of the things with the owners and spirit groups and Don, this kind of goes back to what we were debating a couple weeks ago. You know, obviously we know you're in it to make money, but I didn't like, because when the group first came out, they kind of indirectly said that, hey, we want the naming rights to they kind of let you know they weren't as interested, especially in the hockey and even in basketball. Like, yeah, we're going to spend this much. We're going to operate like this. That's code language for we're going to spend this amount of money. We're only going to spend this amount of money. We're not going to do that. And they told you that from the get-go. And I never liked that, because they just let you know that we're just a corporate ownership. We don't care anything about the winning. I know that all corporate or all owners don't, but don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. You know, let me don't come out and tell me you're not interested in that. That's just bad owner. I don't like when owners do that.
Wow.
No, because you can't spend any money.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're telling the fans that basically, hey, we're making enough money being a loser. Why would I want to come support? You know what I'm saying? Why would I come support? So at least if you feel that way, just shut up and don't say it. Don't say it.
Didn't Bruce Levinson say something about the Hawks, like their goal was to make it to the second round of the playoffs, and that was it, because that was where they broke even or they made money?
Yep. Yes.
And he was just like, wow, that's okay.
Because with the attendance, and if you remember why the Hawks broke up, if you remember Bruce Levinson, that famous email where he sent that you're basically the suburban, Caucasian fans, you're scaring them away from the arena with the rap and so and so. But he also, he said that.
I know. That email was fantastic.
But like you said, he basically said that, hey, with our attendance where it is in the bottom half of the league, if we get to the second round, we turn to profit. We the investors, we don't care. Don't tell us that. We're not interested in the business. The fans not. And they kept talking about the business openly with the paper, with the AJC. And it's like, stop telling the fans that. We don't care. That's just making us not like you more.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. Go into the chat, Coach.
All right. We got Lauren PR says ECHL, the Atlanta Gladiators are still playing in Gwinnett, I believe. Yeah, I believe they are in the AHL. I believe the Gladiators are still playing.
They playing. And also Trey, he said Blank could own the hockey team. He's a good owner. Like I said, if we ever, if NHL ever give us a third chance, which I don't really think that's going to end up happening no time soon anyway, I think Arthur Blank should own the hockey team. Do I think they should play downtown Atlanta? No. Should they play somewhere like in Gwinnett or Cobb County? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I really think so. And let me be honest with you guys. During the week, because Thrashers, they play the puck drop at 7:00, and if you don't know anything about Atlanta traffic, Everybody ain't gonna make it on time. And this is the same thing with the Hawks. The same thing with the Hawks, man. Like that's why some of the games played at 8:00 on a weekday, so that way fans can make it on time.
Yeah, like nobody was ever down. Like I could make it down there way before puck drop, coming from Cobb, driving straight down against traffic, but people didn't really get there until about halfway through the first period because the game started at 7. And that was stupid.
Well, I walked to the arena because I stayed a few blocks away, and I used to get free tickets just to go to the games. So hey,
and a lot of people ask, like, if you guys didn't know, that's why baseball games a lot of times the first pitch is at 7 or 7:15, 7:30, because a baseball game could last 4 hours. And if you're asking parents to bring their kids during the week, especially once you get to September and kids are back in school, or parents have to go to work, nobody's trying to get home at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday from a baseball game. So that's why time baseball. And Trey asked a question in the chat, and he says, y'all forgive me for being young, but why didn't Ted Turner buy the Thrashers? He was
Atlanta. The brainchild behind
it.
He brought the team.
Yes. Mm-hmm. He did, Trey, and then he went into partnership with Time Warner AOL. Basically, it's one of them things where they ended up having more shares than him. So when they sold the team, pretty much. So originally he did. So he pretty much went into partnership with them, and then he didn't have majority ownership no more.
Yeah, this is what happened with Ted Turner. Ted Turner downfall is soon as he merged with Time Warner, he lost everything. He lost the Braves, he lost the Thrashers, the Hawks, and WCW as well. World Championship Wrestling. In case y'all young bucks don't know anything about real wrestling back in the 90s, but he lost it all. He was on top of the world back in the mid 90s. He won the World Series. The Hawks was looking like they was about to knock on the door for an NBA finals appearance. It's just we couldn't beat Jordan and the Bulls. That's just the problem. We brought hockey back, and then WCW pretty much was doing good. And then as soon as he signed with Time Warner, everything just started going downhill. He pretty much sold his soul to money, sold his soul to the devil. That's all it was.
And Time Warner had to sell off because basically they overinflated their stocks or something like that, and their investors weren't getting the return, so they had to sell off everything to pay off what they owed, and that's how Atlanta Spirit Group got it for cheaper than what it was worth.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to after the Atlanta Spirit bought the team. We had some nice, good players coming up. We had Kovalchuk, Mark Savard, and we also had a player by the name of Danny Heatley. A lot of people remember him. What happened to the tragic incident when he killed? He was driving drunk, and Buckhead, his Ferrari snapped into a wall and killed one of his fellow teammates, Dan Schneider. But it's just before that accident, man. It's just the Thrashers looked like they was a flavor of the league, man. He was on the cover of NHL 2004. I bought that. I bought that game. Look, I was the only, and I was the only black person. I was the only person in the hood was liking hockey. Like, because everybody was giving away free hockey tickets to go to the Thrashers game. Everybody, I don't want to go there. I said, give them to me. I would love to go see a hockey game, and it was cold in it because I love the cold anyway. Going to Phillips Arena, get out the hood for a night, man. Look, man, I was so ecstatic back then, just getting some free tickets to go see the Thrashers. But like he was on the cover of NHL 2004. That was the same year that Mike Vick was on the cover of Madden.
Oh God!
But and being real, when we first started talking about this show, doing it, I was like, I mean, we can't talk about this. We can't talk about the Thrashers without bringing up that incident. But it seems like that incident. It seems like
downhill, man.
It seems like it kind of killed the franchise.
Not only killed the franchise, but it also killed Danny Heatley's career. Like, the man was good. Like, before that, the man was good. It's just like he won awards and everything. It's just after that, man. It's just he He had to trade him.
He had to trade him away because he couldn't stay in Atlanta.
He wanted to leave because he knew that it just staying there was just not going to work out for him. So he asked for a trade.
Yeah.
Even Dan Snyder's parents pretty much said that he owed it to the city to stay, but he wanted to leave. What's your thoughts on that, Laura?
I mean, I completely understand why he wanted out. I mean, the rest of after he came back, after the accident, I mean, he was still good, but watching him play, you could just tell that there was too many distractions, and his heart just didn't seem like it was in it anymore. And I think being traded to Ottawa was a good thing. And I mean, I brought us Marian Hossa, and he's probably, I know everybody loves Kovalchuk, but to me, I think Hossa's probably the best Thrasher.
Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, it just took the wind out of everybody's sails, just completely. And the team was playing better. I mean, they played pretty well the first couple months, first half that season after Dan Snyder died. They were in first place in the division for a while.
Yeah,
and then the wheels just came off. Like something always happened to go wrong. And if I remember right, I think that may have been one of the seasons where they had goaltending issues.
You know what? We call that the most Atlanta thing that happened. The Atlanta sports thing that happened.
It is. I mean, you're going great, and then bouncing back from adversity and a tragedy, and then of course just something happens. And I just don't think that the team ever really, not just that season, but any season afterwards, ever knew how to get together, as a team and come back from a bad situation. They just couldn't do it.
Yeah. I think the momentum, the accident with Danny Heatley and then the lockout the next season pretty much killed our momentum. Because I was so hyped of 2004, 2005 season. I said, man, we about to come back. We about to win the Southeast Division. As soon as they said lockout, I said, man, this is the worst thing that can happen. It reminds me of it reminds me of the 1994 Montreal Expos. I don't know if you remember that team, but they pretty much the unofficial world champs of that season. And I sit up here and I say, well, we could have won. We could have pretty much went all the way and went to the Stanley Cup in 2004-2005 season if there wasn't lockout.
So Trey and JF both in the chat are basically saying they're young and don't remember. But just imagine we had a franchise that was budding, that we were just on the cusp of starting to do something, and the brightest star, got in an accident with his buddy, another player, in the car and killed him. So just, I know you guys it just killed the franchise. It was just no recovering. We had to trade him away. It was still that cloud hanging over. I mean, it was tragic. I mean, it was shocking, Yeah.
All right. So, and fast forward to the 2006-2007 season, I was out of the market because I went to college. I was in college. I went to college in Missouri, and I was out of the market, so I couldn't really watch the games unless it was like aired on ESPN or something like that. And they was making a lot of noise that year. We had Hossa, Kovalchuk, and then Mark Savard. Those three guys pretty much led the pack, led the charge for the team that season, and we won our only divisional title that year, and went into the playoffs, and we got beat by the Rangers. We got swept by the Rangers, and I was like, man. So, what's your thoughts on that season?
Oh God, I mean, the playoff games were fun. I'll give them that. Those were some of the most fun games that I've ever been to, and everybody was so excited, and then the Thrashers just, I don't know. The biggest issue, I mean, the season itself was great. Like, it just, everything worked out perfectly. And I think that to a degree, the Thrashers were a little bit of a beneficiary of being part of the Southeast Division, that really wasn't as strong as it could have been. But then you get in the playoffs, and you have Bob Hartley try to, I don't know what he was doing that year in the playoffs, because he alternated the goalies in every game.
Yeah.
So he had Lettinen in game 1, and Kari got his butt handed to him. So he put in Hedberg in game 2, and that didn't work. So he went back to Lettinen, and it's like you can't do that. That messes. Goalies are weird anyway. That messes with their brains, and neither goalie got into a rhythm or really got into the zone. And then you have the team wondering, well, why is coach switching out the goalies all the time? And that throws them off, and it just. It just didn't. It felt like they didn't have any focus.
Yeah.
Like all the focus they had during the regular season was just gone.
Gone. Yeah. Like I said, it goes back to what we say, the most Atlanta thing that can happen. We do good in the regular season and just any team, and in the playoffs, we just lose our minds and just forget how to play. And, and just, because like I said, that we could have, going back to 2014, we could have, those few years, we were a great hockey team, and we could have went the distance and pretty much played for a Stanley Cup. But it's just, that playoff run was coaching. That was on Hartley.
Yeah.
And going back to Hartley, the next season, we fired Bob Hartley. Pretty much not even a quarter away of the season, but they fired him. Because we went on a losing streak, but I kind of feel that looking back at it, did we fire him too soon? Because once we fired him, that's just whatever momentum we had, like trying to be successful here in Atlanta, it just went out the window. That was our downfall. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh God, I remember when that happened, and at first I was kind of like, well, they're not playing for him. So it makes sense. Go ahead and do it early in the season. Get a quality replacement coach. Every coach has a shelf life. And then Atlanta Spirit was just like, well, we'll just make Don Waddell the interim coach. And I remember my first thought was, he's not going to leave. He's not going to leave that bench. And he didn't. He was a coach all season long because Atlanta Spirit was too cheap to hire somebody. So they were like, let's just put a general manager out there. That'll work. And
yeah.
I mean, there were a couple games where I was a little impressed by him. Not necessarily strategy, but I was sitting down close to the bench one time, and I forgot what happened. One of our players got just cheap shotted, and I thought they were going to kick Waddell out of the game. Like, he turned beet red and started screaming at the officials, and I was like, oh my God, he had a reaction to something. Like, he did a thing.
He has a pulse, huh?
Yeah, because anytime that I ever got a chance to speak with him or any of the town hall meetings or anything like that, he reminded me of Droopy the dog. So to see him go off on the official was so weird. But yeah. I mean, it was just another symptom of just how cheap Atlanta Spirit was. They didn't even want to hire a coach. It was like, I want to put the GM back there. It's fine. We don't care. We'll lose. And it just went from, being one of the best young teams in the league to the team that's being coached by their GM and has Bobby Holik as a captain.
You youngsters, as a trivia, you can go on Joe Johnson's page and send him some, what's the name? Joe Johnson is the reason we don't have the Thrashers.
Mm-hmm.
For real though, I mean, it really is a part. It's not, obviously it's not the whole reason, but it was definitely a part of it. That was the start of it. Joe Johnson, the reason we don't have hockey.
It's ironic. It's ironic because as soon as the Thrashers left, the Hawks started doing good.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't like that coalition. They put their stock in. Yes, they wanted to run Phillips Arena, but they also had the choice. Okay, basketball, hockey. So they chose basketball. And then you also had I think Wilkins was also in on it, Spirit Group as well. So you already knew it was conflicting interest from the get-go. But so going to the final season, we didn't even know it was a final season in 2010. 2010 came, and that whole year I remember the not Cardinals, but the Coyotes. The Coyotes, the Arizona Coyotes, or Phoenix Coyotes, whatever you want to call them, they were in talks to going back to Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, sorry, no, as long as y'all keep my Thrashers in the line, I really don't care. So we didn't find out that the team was going to relocate to the end of the season because Atlanta Spirit, it was like a week before the final season. Atlanta Spirit was selling the team. They said they was selling the team, and then the league pretty much denounced that, saying that they're not selling the team. And you already know, anytime when there's relocation in the air, the league is going to try to downplay it until it actually happens. That's what they did. The same thing with the Rams moving back to Los Angeles a few seasons ago. And I just thought that, okay, man, we about to lose this team. And I hope, and I said Atlanta Spirits, they will sell it. And I said, please let it be Arthur Blank. Please let it be somebody in Atlanta who got money, who can keep the team in Atlanta. I said, I don't care if it's Tyler Perry. Like, let it be somebody who's invested in keeping this team in the city. Well, lo and behold, what you say?
King and King, somebody.
Yeah, yeah. But so here's the thing: True North, which I hate them forever to I'm dead and gone. They pretty much was a suitor to buy the team, and as soon as I saw True North, I already know. Okay, we gone. The team, they're not going to keep the team in Atlanta. We know this.
True North.
That goes to show you
how much more direct could we be.
So they made the transaction back in May 2011, and lo and behold, the team pretty much moved that summer, and that was the end of the Atlanta Thrashers. And I look. I'm sad because I've been here. I've been living for 31 years. I've been an Atlanta sports fan for 30-some years, and this is like the first time, and I hope it's the last time I witness a team moving away from my city. I just put a lot of stock. We put a lot of people here in Atlanta put a lot of stock in this team. Like, first is buying season tickets or buying the merchandise or going to the town hall meetings or whatever. Like, we put a lot of time into this franchise, 11 years, and they just took it away from us. Like, what's your thoughts on that, Laura?
Yeah, that whole situation, there's so much about that situation that still makes me mad. I mean, like you said, when the season started, yeah, they were kind of having some issues getting people in the stands like they had for a while, and then, in December, the Thrashers were in first place in the division, and people were coming to the games a little better. And, we kind of thought, maybe there's a little bit of a chance that if they keep playing, maybe all these rumors will go away. But the rumors just hung around. And I remember listening to radio interviews on 680 with members of the ownership group. And the only players that they could identify as one of her players was Dustin Bufflin. Like, they couldn't talk about any other player. And I'm like, if you only know one guy on the team that you own, there's a problem. Like, if you can't tell me who the rest of the players are, that doesn't really bode well. So, that started, I want to say it started probably in halfway through February. And that's when, on the Atlanta Thrashers, the NHL used to have message boards on all their websites. And the Atlanta Thrashers boards, people kind of started whispering. And then people from Winnipeg started showing up and trolling the boards. And we were like, no, we're not going to relocate. It'll be Phoenix. Because there was that stupid situation with the ownership group in Phoenix. And the city dumping all that money in to save the Coyotes, so much that their fire department could barely function in Glendale. Wow. It was just ridiculous. And I was like, well, that doesn't look good for us, because the NHL is not going to have that happen and then, move the team back to Winnipeg, which is probably what should have happened.
Yeah.
And Gary Bettman got on the radio tour, and he gave an interview, I think it was in Tampa, to a local sports radio station. They asked him about it. He was like, no, the Thrashers, we're not relocating the Thrashers. They're not going to move. And it was like a week before the relocation sale.
Exactly.
It just really, it sucked. it really, really genuinely sucked to get the text message or to get the push alert on my phone saying Thrashers have been sold to True North, and then to watch the interviews on Fox 5 where one of the owners was like, "Oh, my son was so upset that we had to sell the team," and blah blah blah, and just all this, pardon my French, but bullshit that he was talking about, and it was so insulting.
Yeah.
And then of course everybody was like, "Oh, well, Atlanta's a horrible sports market, and Atlanta's they can't support hockey teams, and nobody down there likes hockey, despite the fact that we have like 1 million transplants down here."
Exactly.
And it was just a pile on time right after it left, and it sucked. And what people didn't realize is it was because of the ownership group. It was just like the Flames. It's the owners that were the problem, not the market. But I think the market has that reputation now. I mean, we're the only market that's lost two hockey teams like that.
Yeah.
I mean, both of our teams are playing each other at the Heritage Classic this month or next month. Which is just like, I'm like,
oh man, that's a slap in the face.
The Heritage Classic, I know, right? Are they trolling us?
Oh man, hold on.
Flames versus Jets. I was like,
they're trolling us, Cole. Done. I think they're trolling us.
Yeah. But here's my thing. I remember that day when I saw it on True North, because I got notifications on my phone. I saw it. Guess what? Hours later, I had to go buy a new phone because I was literally outside. I was outside doing work. All right, and I was on the driveway or whatever, and I saw it. I just slammed it, and it shattered. Ooh. And like, I was so upset. I'm saying, are you really kidding me? Like, they did not give this franchise a chance to thrive in the city. It was the ownership. And now I say to this day, screw NHL, screw the National Hockey League, because they did not give Atlanta a chance at all. Like, you gave Arizona a chance, and they still have their hockey team. I'm trying to figure out, it's a desert out there. Like,
there's
nobody out there play hockey. Come on now, like, I understand.
Still have bad attendance. Their attendance out there is still one of the lowest teams.
Exactly.
Another thing that hurt us too is they created those divisions, the Southeast divisions, and they put a whole bunch of expansion teams in a division where you're gonna be playing 20, 30 games a year against teams that nobody wants to see. They want to see the Rangers. They want to see the Bruins. They want to see these historic teams, the Blackhawks. Nobody want to see the Panthers. Nobody wanted to see the Memphis or the Tennessee, whoever they were. So
the Carolina, the Carolina Hurricanes, they once were the Hartford Whalers. A lot of people don't know that. So. And Hartford been trying to get Hartford been trying to get that team back for a good minute. Hartford and Quebec. So
yeah, but nobody wants to see a division full of expansion teams.
I mean, the only two teams that people showed up for when we played them were Tampa Bay and the Capitals, because the Caps had Ovechkin and Semin, and Tampa Bay had LeCavalier and
St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah. So it's like, there are two teams, and both those teams beat us every damn time. And then,
and the Lightning, they won the Stanley Cup back in like 2003, I believe.
2004,
yeah, 2003, 2004, yep. So, but look, like, here's, and a lot of people, and I ask this question: will NHL ever come back? I don't know. I really don't know. It all depends on if the league. I don't know how the league is doing right now. Like, I'm looking at MLS right now, and how Atlanta United has been playing, and how the league has been doing overall. Like, it's like the soccer, like in the MLS, is like they doing way better now, because every year they're announcing expansion teams. Like,
yeah, I mean, St. Louis just got one, which I'm super excited about.
Exactly. St. Louis got one, and I think Nashville's getting one as well. And then, you look at the NHL, they're only expanding to Seattle.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, would Seattle support hockey, because they didn't really support I'm pretty sure they supported the Supersonics. I think that was another thing with ownership as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, the good thing about Seattle getting a team is at least they have a built-in rival right there with Vancouver.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know the market's wanted one up there for a while, but I just don't know. I'm very, very happy with how Vegas is doing. I mean, they're doing great. And I mean, I'm sure the NHL's making money hand over fist right now. I mean, they've, as much as I hate Gary Bettman and have hated him for over 20 years, the little guy can run a league. Like, he can turn a profit. So, I mean, as long as the league's making the money it's making now, I mean, I don't foresee him coming back here anytime soon. I think a lot of the rumors say that the next relocation area is probably going to be back up in Quebec City.
Yeah, and I feel like they deserve it because they used to have the team that's now the Colorado Avalanche, and it's funny because as soon as they moved to Colorado, that same year they won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I mean, at least that didn't happen to us.
Yeah, they had those cool. That's when everybody was wearing the hockey jerseys, and the Avalanche was cool.
Yep, I remember that.
Their little jersey was cool.
Them and the Dallas Stars. I remember the Dallas Stars used to be the Minnesota North Stars, and they moved to Dallas. A few years later, they won the Stanley Cup. So, like I said, I it's a lot of
hockey knowledge. Okay.
Look, I know about my hockey now. I love some hockey. I love some hockey. Like, trust me, if we had a rink in Summerhill, ice rink in Summerhill, I would have been playing. I'm telling you, I would have been out there like
skating without a stick. Huh?
Hey, I would have been out there fighting.
Entertainment. I went out there skating without a stick.
I was just ready for something to pop off. That's all. Yeah. All right, go ahead and go in the chat real quick, Coach.
All right. Where
started at Jonathan Foskett, the stereotypical. He said this is a stereotypical question, but did the Thrashers have a high-power offense and terrible defense like all other Atlanta teams?
He said stereotypical question, did we have a high-power offense and no defense?
I'm going to let Laura answer that question.
Hell, we didn't have either there for a while. I mean, we had a couple good players like Kovalchuk, and then you had like that one year. It wasn't the last season. I think it was the second to last season where John Anderson was the coach, and I don't know what he was doing. He kept putting like Chris Thorburn, that was the fourth line center, who I love Chris Thorburn, but kept putting him centering Kovalchuk, and then sometimes they put the other fourth line center, Jim Slater, on the first line centering Kovalchuk, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, there was nobody down the middle, and you had these really, really good high-powered defensive players, and then everything was on Kovalchuk, or everything when Hossa was here, everything was on Hossa. And it just, like, they can't do everything by themselves. The defense was there. It was a thing that we had sometimes. It just, like, I mean, it didn't come together as a team. We had a lot of really strong individual players, but we didn't have a really strong cohesive team unit, especially the last couple seasons.
I remember. I don't remember what period it was, but I remember it was a period we did have some goalie issues at one time.
Oh yeah. But there was that one year, a revolving door of just like 5 goalies, and that was a year before we made the playoffs. And that season, they almost made the playoffs, and they would have if we wouldn't have had so many goalie issues.
Yeah.
Trey asks, isn't Atlanta growing enough to support a new team, especially in Cobb and Gwinnett?
Here's the thing. Yes, to answer that question, yes. But would they put a team here? No. Like, you got to think about it, too. There's other, like, I'm not trying to compare Atlanta to Kansas City at all. But you got to think about it. The location, too. It's not because of population. It's because of, it's about the market. Kansas City, I think Kansas City is a great location to put a hockey team. All right, because if you look at it, the closest team they have is the Blues and the Avalanche. I think if you put a team there, it'll spark a rivalry with the Blues and the Avalanche. And another city you can think about would be probably San Antonio, some city in Dallas, some city in Texas. Houston doesn't have a team, and San Antonio doesn't have a team. So you also got to think about that as well. And if you are chairman of the league and you looking at Atlanta, who lost, yes, they lost 2 franchises. One is we lost the Flames. It wasn't because of ownership. It was because of the attendance. It just nobody was showing up for them. But the Thrashers, we lost the Thrashers. It wasn't attendance. The attendance were good for the most part. It was the ownership. But still, in the back of their mind, you had 2 shots. You're not getting a third one. So not right now. I maybe 20, 30 years, who knows? Maybe if a team like Arizona or a team like Vancouver, like I love the Canucks, I really do. If they decide that they want to relocate, and if we have somebody here in the city that will buy the team and move it to Atlanta, that's the only way we'll get a team. I don't think we get an expansion team. If we do get a team, it has to be somebody that's going to buy a team from an ownership in another market and bring it here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Atlanta a better chance of having, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, to be honest. But having the Gladiators move up from ECHL to AHL.
Yeah.
Like I really could, because they draw they've always drawn very well for an ECHL team, despite the fact that it's a pain in the butt to get out there.
Yeah, it is. The loop is horrible.
I mean, they've always done well, so I'm a little surprised that they haven't kind of moved up a level.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think that hockey, especially in Cobb, they just built a brand new ice rink right behind over here on Barrett Parkway, right behind a shopping center, and it hosts KSU hockey and Georgia Tech hockey. So I mean, there's a lot of interest in the sport, and I think that having a team up here, I mean, I really do think that a lot of the attendance would probably be really, really good. It's just, I just don't think that it would be, at least for right now. Yes. I don't think people trust the market. So many people got so burned by the Thrashers that I don't think people trust the NHL very much down here anymore.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel too.
Yeah. It's interesting that she said that, because Lauren PR in the chat said he just attended the college club game of KSU and UGA, and must be in the rink that you're talking about, and he said it was packed. He said it was packed.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get in there. You couldn't get in there when it was at the old rink either, but that's because the old rink was tiny. Yeah. So I mean, it's KSU's hockey team's always been, at least until KSU got the football team, it was like the biggest drawing sport.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said, like, hockey is big in the city. I don't care. Like, don't let the NHL draw that narrative that we can't support hockey. Like, we can support hockey. It's just got to be in the right ownership, and you got to build the arena in the right location. I don't think downtown Atlanta is a good area. Now, if you build it in Cobb County, I think if you build it near the Braves Stadium, or you build or you expand like the Duluth Arena, I think it'll thrive up there in that area.
Like, I think what they need to do is they need to do what they did with Bridgestone, and find some place where it's an entertainment district or there's stuff to do around the arena, and then either put the arena there or build stuff up around that. So that way, because there really isn't a whole bunch, other than like the CNN Center and the restaurants, and there wasn't a whole bunch to do around Phillips.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know going to a game up in Nashville's a blast, because like right after the game, you can walk right out on Broadway and go out and hang out.
Yeah.
So maybe try to build something like that, and try to build kind of
just like what the Braves have. The Braves with the Battery, like you leave the game, it's so many restaurants and bars, or you can just hang out with just fans. Like, I remember I just went to a game last week when they clinched in the East. Like, I didn't leave the area till like 2 hours after the game ended, because I wanted to mingle and just hang out with the fans and stuff.
Yeah, it's just fun just to be down there with other fans and talk to them and just hang out and grab some dinner or something like that. I mean, and I remember after Thrashers games, I went home.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't anything.
There wasn't nothing to do. Everything was closed.
Yeah. Like everything, like the only place that stayed open for a little bit after the games was Taco Mac, when that was down there.
And you get tired of eating
but
that
after the Thrashers left, I think that kind of really hurt their business because hockey fans drink. So I think that was part of the reason why that Taco Mac had to close, is because they weren't doing any big, that they lost 41 games a year.
Dang. Yeah.
Yep. That's a lot.
Last person to join us was Eric, I-20 Eric, and he said that he I guess he was a Red Wings fan. He always wanted to see Detroit play Atlanta, and I guess judging by his emojis, he's not an Avalanche fan.
There's a rivalry between the Red Wings and the Avalanche.
And he says, Eric, I'm not sure if you were listening, Eric, and you just weren't coming. He said that I can't think about the Thrashers without thinking about Danny Heatley. Yeah, we talked about that for a while earlier, Eric. I'm not sure if you were on yet, but yeah, you same, Eric. Yeah, we feel the same.
Yeah, and it's funny too that he's a Wings fan, because those were the games that I kind of dreaded going to, because there were like hundreds of Thrashers fans,
and it was a sea of red.
Yeah, and the games against the Blackhawks too. I mean, those were, they didn't happen too often, but oh my God, they invaded. And then I'm a Blues fan because I'm from St. Louis originally, so when the Blues would come down, I'd wear my Blues stuff and go down and stuff like that, and there'd be like 15 of us, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
people talk about transplants all the time, and really, it's mostly Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah, that and I remember I used to go. Yeah, I remember I used to go to games that like before the Thrashers, I was a Canucks fan, and I also was a Islanders fan, New York Islanders, and I still look. If it's an Islander game come on my TV right now, I'm gonna watch it. Like I'm gonna watch it.
They're a good team.
Yes, they are. Like I love the Islanders, but as a home team, as a hometown person, I loved my Thrashers, and I really did. Also, Trey in the chat, he said that they should put a hockey rink in Cascade. Man, you don't want to do that, dude. Man, they put a hockey rink out there, but it's gonna be fights breaking out every day. And he said, "Oh yeah, so, so."
All right. So, Laura, let them know one more time where they can check you out at, where they can read you at, and who you write for and everything.
Yeah, you can follow me at Twitter at @HildyMac. And I am the blog manager for St. Louis Game Time. So you can read my my stuff on the St. Louis Blues over at stlouisgametime.com.
Yep. And you was she was the former editor for Bird Watchers. What was the name of it?
Oh, Bird Watchers Anonymous.
Yeah. Bird Watchers Anonymous. That was the Thrashers SB Nations account back then.
Yeah, me and the Falconer and Timmy F and Aaron. Yeah.
And you guys. Yeah. You guys, Laura is also a baseball fan. She's a Cardinals fan, so be sure to troll her on Twitter this week.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to Thursday.
Yes. All right. Let them know what we got coming up this week, Don. We got Wednesday. We got our college show.
All right, it's a busy week in Atlanta sports. Outside of what we doing, but you have the Hawks. They practicing again. Their training camp coming up. Then you have the Braves starting the postseason in the LDS, and then you also have the Atlanta Blaze, who's also going to play. Who also have playoff games. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot to do. It's a lot to watch. So you should be excited. I know everybody's upset about the Falcons losing today, but hey, I'm putting that in the rearview mirror. I'm looking back like this, okay. But everybody should be excited. The Braves play in NLDS this week, and we had the potential to go to the next round in the NLCS. We haven't played in the NLCS in almost 18 years, I believe. It was 2001 since we played in the NLCS. Wow. Yes, that long. It's something like I said, something got to give. But we're gonna be back Wednesday. We're gonna preview the Georgia-Tennessee game with Caleb Calhoun. That'll be fun. I know a lot of people in the chat, they gonna want to come back and watch that live stream on Wednesday. I know a lot of people go troll. They go troll the guy Caleb Calhoun. So hey, it is what it is. So just come back Wednesday for that. So thank you to everybody in the chat that came in tonight and talked hockey. I know we educated a lot of people on hockey, the history of the Thrashers tonight. Share this content out with other people who pretty much y'all age or who never knew anything about the Thrashers, because like I said, they were a exciting franchise, man, and I wish you guys would have saw them play. I wish they were still here. Thank you, Laura, for coming on and pretty much reminiscing the good times that we had here in the city with the Thrashers. Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
All right. So if you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics, and also hit us up in the comment section. As always,
come holler
at your hometown sports podcast. We'll see y'all Wednesday. Y'all have a great evening.